Now, the work of a specialist team at Poole Hospital has been described as life-changing. They use a combination of art and technology to make prosthetics to replace body parts that have been lost through trauma or disease.
Yeah, and while prosthetic ears, noses, eyes, fingers can't restore physical functions, the restoration of a patient's appearance can still have an incredible impact, as our health correspondent Alistair Fee has been finding out.
In this lab in Poole Hospital, lives broken by trauma and disease are put back together. It's a mixture of art, technology and science.
It's getting used to colours and looking at different textures in the skin, picking those up and knowing what colours to add to your silicone to alter that colour to match the patient.
When reconstructive surgery can't help, this small skilled team can. This is where life-changing prostheses are made, so lifelike that no one would notice.
The majority of people that we see have had cancer, but we also see people that have been through trauma or have a congenital birth difference where maybe their ear hasn't formed properly, that sort of thing as well.
So they've had some part of their head and neck, part of their face predominantly, they've lost that, and it's not always possible for the surgeon to reconstruct that with their own tissue. And so that's where we step in and we're able to provide them with a prosthesis instead that replaces what's been lost. With the materials that we now have available, we can really get that lifelike appearance.
And here we can do the shadow of the nostrils. So you can see there all the different colours that are going in.
They make around 60 prostheses a year and have 40 ongoing patients to care for.
These 3 magnets here will click onto implants that he has in his bone. It's a really good way of holding the prostheses into place. We have some patients that still play football.
If I was making fingers all the time, I think I'd get a bit bored of making fingers. But I quite like making eyes. I like the artistic skill and attention for detail. I'm painting an iris disc, so this is one of the components that's needed when making an indwelling eye as well as an orbital prosthesis. It's important to get the colour of that right and all the details.
An oven is used to bake the nose that Heidi is working on. As realistic as they are, the prosthesis can't restore any function.
You know, they don't move. You know, with an orbital prosthesis, the eyelashes, you know, the eye doesn't close. There is a certain extent, you know, that goes to really.
The work they do here is about improving quality of life and boosting confidence.
I think we play a big part in helping them sort of find their way back to normality and giving them confidence to face the world again, really.
Few workshops can boast they make the sort of personal transformations as this one.
We can sew nasal hairs in if they really want to, but often the patients don't request that we give them a hairy nose.
Some of our patients are surprised at the results that we get. I can really make a difference to their life, and that journey is just amazing to witness.
I just love my job. You know, hearing some of the things that some of the patients have said, it really means a lot when, you know, when you're giving them back that quality of life.
They do the most incredible work.
They really do.
Yeah, and that report was from our health correspondent, Alistair Fee. We're going to be hearing much more about the impact of all that work that we've just been seeing them do there, that the impact that has on the actual patients later on in the programme. We will also join staff inside the hospital.
That's just before 9 o'clock this morning, so in a couple of hours to come.
Now, earlier in the programme, you might have seen that we showed you some of the incredible work by the specialists at Poole Hospital who make prosthetic body parts.
Yeah, the impact for patients is really remarkable, and we're about to see that for real because Philip, Susan and John, they all lost part of their faces following treatment for cancer, but thanks to these prosthetics, they say they've had their confidence restored.
Our health correspondent, Alistair Fee, has more.
It takes just a simple click. And what was once lost, a missing piece of anatomy, is back again.
I'm absolutely over the moon with what they can do. I've got several noses, but this is the winter one, yes.
Every 6 months, Philip attends this clinic to pick up a new nose. It's handmade and colour-coded to match his skin.
A little bit more around there, it's a little bit pale.
Facial prostheses made by a dedicated team in Poole Hospital are transforming lives damaged by cancer or physical trauma.
We get to see the patients, we get to take the impressions, spend a lot of time with them, getting to know what works for them. And then we come here in the laboratory and we can physically make them. So lots of different materials, lots of different techniques that we're using.
There you go, and that's a nice click.
Susan is a new patient. For the first time since her operation, she can wear her hair up with confidence again.
I spent all last summer wearing a scarf. I had the operation, and when I first looked in the mirror, it was amazing because I'd been all that time, without one, and then suddenly there was one.
Losing an eye to cancer left John severely disfigured. He's had a new eye hand-painted and surrounded by silicone to replace what his surgeon had to remove.
Oh, I'll be a lot more confident going out and about. I've been going out the house with a patch on every day. It's not so much for me, it's unsightly for other people, and it might, upset people. Hopefully I won't have to do that anymore.
Okay, see you later. Bye-bye.
The maxillofacial team will go on to care for their patients for the rest of their lives. But it's a journey that begins with surgery.
As a surgeon, I remove cancer, and then there are two main facets to the reconstruction. We like, where possible, to be able to restore and reconstruct patients with their own tissue. That's called autologous tissue. But sometimes the defect, the facial defect, is so complex that we can't do that. And that's where we rely on the expertise of the maxillofacial laboratory. The materials that they use are so lifelike. I'm in awe of some of the work that the maxillofacial laboratory do.
These lives, once damaged, have been put back together. Few meeting them would know the work they've had done.
I don't worry about going out anymore. I lead a normal life. Heidi is so fantastic with what she does, not just for me, but for many, many other people. And I can't talk highly enough of all of them, quite honestly. They've become friends over the years with me.
Unbelievable work.
Absolutely incredible, isn't it?
Like you just said, it's like special effects from a film or something, that level of skill.
But being used in real life
Every
in
day.
such an important way. Our reporter James Ingham is at Poole Hospital in Dorset for us this morning with some of those experts and some of the people who are benefiting. Morning, James. It's really taken our breath away watching these pictures this morning.
I think, John, it will have taken everybody's breath away. It's quite incredible, that work. When we all saw that film, we were really amazed. And all of that work is being done in a very unassuming lab here in Poole Hospital. Nobody would even know that this place exists. But in the background here, you can see one of the prosthetists working away on some 3D computer modelling. That's going to be used for later surgery, and it can get real precision results there. Just above me are some of the models of prosthetics which have been made, so teeth, so ears, noses, eyes, and also nipples for breast reconstruction. But Philip was one of the 3 people that we saw in that report who told us their story. And I'm pleased to say that Philip joins us here at Poole Hospital again this morning. Philip, thanks once again for coming to see us. We can't tell, can we, that your nose is not real?
I hope not.
I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? It really is incredible.
It certainly is.
Made a massive difference to you.
It made a huge difference to my life. I can actually take it off for you, James, if you'd like to see inside it, so you can get an idea of what goes on. So, there we go. That's the inside of my nose. And I've got now 3 magnets in there. And Mr. Ramchandani, who was my surgeon, will tell you exactly how it all worked and how it all went into place.
Dr. Ramchandani, this was the result of cancer in the nose that Philip had. You had to do a lot of reconstruction work.
Yes, of course. Our real heroes are our patients, aren't they? The human resolve is incredible. When Philip came to see me 10 years ago now, I think, he had quite an extensive cancer on the nose. Now, normally we like to try and reconstruct using the patient's own tissue, but when the cancer is so extensive, then we have to resort to using prosthetics. And so Philip's had an operation to remove the nose. He's also had an operation to remove the lymph glands from his neck. And you can see the the implants that we put in here to help the laboratory to make the other prosthesis. This is how it actually starts. So this is a model of Philip's face using the CT scan, and we use this to plan the surgery in the laboratory. We mimic the surgery, and I'll sit with the prosthesis, and we can work out exactly where the implants need to go that make it easier when we're in the theatre.
And then, of course, you've put the magnets on. Philip, if you can just show us the inside of your nose there. That's got 3 magnets on, which then just click into place.
Just click into place. So
Really
I'll put it
simple.
back on now, so you can actually see it going back on. So here we go. That's it.
There we
All
go.
done.
And again, no one would ever know.
No, exactly.
Doctor, this is making a huge difference to patients, isn't it? Because clearly some sort of facial disfigurement is very distressing.
Oh, absolutely. If you sort of cast your mind back to when you were a teenager and you were getting ready for school and you looked in the mirror and you had a spot on your face, and you did everything to try and conceal that, to pop the spot. You tried to get out of going to school. I wouldn't advocate that. And then fast forward sort of 20, 30 years down the line and you have a cancer on the nose. It's devastating. But I hope the work that we can do makes it acceptable to our patients.
Philip, you went through an awful lot, didn't you?
I did.
And the final result, getting the nose, what difference did that make for you?
Made a huge difference to me, James. Sorry, I get very upset about all this, but I can't do anything about it. But all of this is teamwork from Mr. Prakesh, teamwork from Heidi, and also the love and support I've had from my family.
Philip, thank you so much for talking to us so bravely. When you mentioned Heidi there, Heidi Sims, we can go over and talk to you now. You're one of the prosthetists. You made Philip's nose. It's incredible work. You've got one underway at the moment as well. Can you tell us the process of what goes into it?
So we take an impression of the area, and we get a stone mould. So here we've got a partial nose prosthesis here, and you can see the pencil lines there. When the wax goes on, we sort of carve it with the patient there, and we do some colour matching. But this sort of shows how it's going to blend in nicely with the tissue, and hopefully those edges will disappear when they're wearing it.
It is incredibly skilled work, isn't it? I guess your work is almost a combination of medicine, science, dentistry, and art.
Yes, yeah. I came through dental technology sort of background, and from there you go on to facial prosthetics, facial fractures, and then body prosthetics as well.
What does it mean to you to be working in this field? Clearly, we've heard from Philip, you're making a huge difference to many patients.
Yes, and that's what it's all about. It's that rehabilitation for the patients. It's getting them back into their everyday living, really.
There's not many people like you, are there? You're a small number.
Yeah, our professional body, the Institute of Maxillofacial Prosthetics and Technologists, there's 138, I think, of us full members within the whole of the UK.
So just going back to this nose, tell us how long that might take to now complete.
Probably a series of 4 or 5 appointments to make them. So this is at these stages now where it's ready to make the mould for it, and then we'll make a mould on the top, and then we'll put the silicone in once we've boiled the wax out of there as well.
And of course you've got some of the colours as well,
Yes, so
blending it in and making it look real. That's a key part of it,
yeah,
isn't it?
this is some examples of some silicone here, sort of mixed up for a different prosthesis, and all of those get put into the mould. I think you saw in the footage that it gets very intricately put into the mould, and then that replicates the soft tissue.
We did see at the beginning, I showed some models of some nipples as well. That's an important part of the work you do here, isn't it?
Yeah, with the breast care, it's, a lot of the time, so this is some example here. We've got a nipple here, and then some colour matches, and this is the impressions that we take. It's a very simple procedure to make for prosthetics-wise, but yet, it's obviously such a body confidence sort of thing for the ladies, and they really appreciate it.
You must have people who you deal with for many years, because a lot of these prostheses need to be repaired, don't they, or kind of regularly attended
we tend to see the patients about every 6 months for reviews. Hopefully a prosthesis will last sort of 18 months to 2 years at least. And we can, I think in the footage as well, it says a summer and a winter nose, so we can sort of tint a little bit as well if they need it.
Heidi, brilliant. Thank you so much for telling us all about your important work. Well, clearly this team here at the Poole Hospital making an enormous difference to Philip and to many others. And really, nobody would know that any of this work is underway here. Incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. It is incredible, James. It's completely incredible. And please tell Philip and the team there that we've had so many messages just coming in every second saying they're so grateful to him for sharing his story and offering hope to people in a similar position who never knew that kind of thing was so possible. So, yeah, all the best to him.
Absolutely. Definitely pass it on.
Astonishing story.
Really was.